Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Danny, and today we have a very special episode. There won't be any reacting to, but I will be self-reflecting on my favorite Frank Zappa albums of all time. So I'm doing this special episode because of let's say, a milestone. We reached 500 subscribers, and I would like to give a shout out to each one of you for supporting me in this project. The reason why I started this channel is I want to push myself out there and explore more music, because in the past I was mostly concentrated on deep diving in just a couple of musicians or bands. And on top of that, I was not going very, let's say, wide. I was always more concentrated on a couple of artists and then going deep. However, there are some genres that I did explore more wide than deep, but that's not the topic of this episode. So, because of that, I'm doing my top 10 favorite Frank Zappa albums. And when I was making the list, I was seeing that I'm leaning into, let's say, less obvious choices. Uh, when I say obvious, I mean because of the let's say more critically or objectively um, less popular options. And so I will call this list actually the top 10 albums I most often go back to. And what I also realized is that, I realized this in past years, is that I prefer to listen Frank live than the studio albums. And a lot of studio albums have been ruined for me because of the superior versions of the songs that have been done live. And since he had so many different lineups during the years and arrangements for specific songs, I most often find the studio versions too slow, uh, without any perks or inside jokes, or changing the lyrics. When they are just, I won't say boring, but not too far away from that. So let's just jump into it. I hope you enjoy this video, and let's let me know in the comment what's your favorite Frank Zappa album and what are your associations to the guy himself. And without any further ado, let's do number 10. So at number 10 we have Weasels Rip My Flesh. And this is one of the latest, or let's say original, The Mothers of Invention albums that they put out. I believe it's 1970 when it was released. And the reason why I decided to put this so high on my list, of course, I listened to his whole discography numerous times. And the reason why I put this at 10 is because it captures the chaos and it captures the, let's say, the ugly side of the mothers themselves. Opposite to Burt Winnie Sandwich, which I would, spoiler alert, I did not include in this list. But I kind of always lean more into this one than the beautiful melodic Burnt Weenie. On the other hand, but yeah, I mean that opener with "Did you get any Onya?" It's in a nutshell everything that I like about Frank in general and the Mothers. And then followed by directly from my heart to you, that violin playing, it's simply amazing. And yeah, the rest of the songs here are very I really like them. And finishing the album with "The Weasels With My Flesh," just another chaos. I know this is mostly of the song, majority of the songs have been recorded live, and in this list you will see a lot of live albums. And this, when I want some Mothers experience, when I have a chaotic day, I kind of go back into this one. And it kind of more mess kind of that I experience if I'm having a very stressful day. For some, it's some trash metal band that does the trick. For me, it's this. It's a perfect balance between beauty and the beast, and I really enjoyed it every time that I listen to it. So let's go to number 9. At number 9, we have a Freak Out, which is their debut double LP, and this is the album that from the Mothers, I would say this is their best album in terms of not only because of the song quality, but I would say it's most structured. The later release, like Absolutely Free or We're Only in It for the Money, they have a lot of, even Uncle Meat. They're all great albums, but for me, this one is most consistent. I can listen to this from top to bottom, and I can enjoy each of the song. And I cannot say that for the other releases. Absolutely Free is too wacky. It has great tunes. I absolutely love those songs, but this one really seems like ahead of its time, much more than the other ones. And We're Only in It for the Money. Yeah, I prefer those songs live more than on the album. And sue me, but I also prefer the 80s remix of the We're Only in It for the Money with the additional bass. I really like that version too. But it simply didn't. I mean, I would probably rank it in top, let's say, 30, top 30, those other Mother's albums. But for me, Freak Out has a numerous of classic songs that I really enjoy, like I don't know where to start. Every song. So Hungry Freaks Daddy, Who Are the Brain Police, Motherly Love, You Didn't Try to Call Me, Anyway the Wind Blows. I mean, every single song, with an exception of the last one. I'll have to be honest, I usually don't listen to the last song. I know what Frank was doing here, and I read in the book that he was trying to just push the boundaries of what's possible. But for me, it's just I don't find it appealing at all. Still, the other 14 songs are absolutely brilliant, and I really like this album. So that's number 9. Let's go to number 6, which is the Grand Wazoo. And again, out of the two, so Grand Wazoo, if you're not familiar with this record, it's, let's say, from the time when Frank was recording instrumental albums more than the others, because he had a back injury which put him out of, let's say, form for a while. And the result of that was Grand Wazoo and Waka Jawaka releases, which had their 50th anniversary just recently. And there's a whole compilation album with all the outtakes of different versions available to buy just from recently. Yeah, in any case, why I prefer this one over Waka Jawaka is because this one has, I would say, more layers to it, more wood instruments. Waka Jawaka is more, let's say, focused on I would say, like, it's more jazzier, more guitar driven, and this one has much more flavors. I really like the all the woodwind instruments and Mini Moog playing, and it's just fantastic quality. If you're looking at the songs that are like very lengthy, I mean, not very lengthy, but the opener is 10 minutes plus. Then for Calvin, second song 6 minutes. Yeah, it's basically, the side A is 2 songs and side B is 3 songs. So amazing record, and I would definitely recommend you checking it if you like very interesting, robust songs and sounds. I believe there are no vocals on any of these tracks, or just a bit. Um, just a bit. It's more focused on the instrumental performance. So that's Grand Wazoo. If you're a lover of instrumental and yeah, jazz rock, that's definitely my go-to. Then on the number 6, if I'm not mistaken, we have Broadway the Hard Way. We are going all the way to 1988 tour when this album was recorded. So during this time, Frank was doing something completely different. He had this absurd big band that he was touring with, and that tour ended up with a lot of fights, a lot of disagreements, and a lot of tensions. But during the time that they have been playing, so I believe East Coast and Europe tour, summer tour, it was, yeah, I would say the peak of reinterpreting Frank's catalog. A lot of people don't like it because of all the wood instruments and kind of dulling it too much, making it more comedy than anything else. But on this tour, he had amazing solos, guitar solos, and a lot of older songs, especially from the 60s, were brought back, and they did a lot of covers as well. But on this particular one, these are all the new songs. So what I really like about this is I won't say Zappa goes pop, but it's the closest that it will get. I like the humor. I like that I can sing to these songs. I mean, any kind of pain is just beautiful. I mean, beautiful song to sing to. Even though I like how he mocks everyone or touches different topics on this one. Even Michael Jackson, and yeah, you can hear. I mean, take this one. It's probably not for everyone. It might be not too serious. It's definitely not serious. It's a compilation of live tracks, but it sounds so beautiful and it's just approachable, right? I find myself often singing one or the other song from the album, or just doing some quotes when I'm talking to people, just quoting something from here. And yeah, it has a variety of vocals. So Ike Willis sings here, Bobby Martin sings. There's also a song with Sting, "Murder by Numbers" from Police, and yeah, it's a brilliant record for me. It's one of my favorites. Go to. So that's number 6. Let's go then to yeah, "You Are What You Is." So 1981, and this record for me is I won't say a perfect balance. So it's a 20-minute, sorry, 20 number album, and I listened to it either the first half or the second half. And for me, the first half is of course, from the first song to Conehead. It ends up with Conehead, and then the second one would be from "You Are What You Is" to the end of the album. I cannot listen. It's too much of a chaos. It's too loud for me to go through it from the top to the bottom. But again, I really like these songs. That medley that he has from third song from Doreen to Conehead. It's a perfect medley. And I was lucky enough to see Dweezil performing live with his band, and they did this medley live, and it was a. I mean, I never imagined I would hear that live. It was amazing. It was simply brilliant, and I was out of this world. And the second half also has great tracks. Um, yeah, starting from even that heavily heavily what's the word? His voice on songs like Mud Club was modified a lot with all the effects. I even enjoy that. So if you're looking for something that's, I would, I mean, I cannot recommend any of these records to people, especially. I mean, there are some of these albums that I can recommend. If you're new to Zappa, I wouldn't start. With most of these records, I wouldn't start. Maybe with a couple of ones, but this is definitely not go-to if you're just starting to hear Frank Zappa. This is more like post many years of listening to his music. I mean, compared to some of you who have been following him since the 60s or 70s, or more recently. I mean, I've been listening to his music since my teenage ages, which is like, I don't know, 15, 16. Well, now even more, maybe probably close to 20 years now. And yeah, I can say that I've really, over the years, this album has grown on me, and I keep coming back to it. I like the combination of the chaos and the sound, and the production might be not at his best, and I would prefer the cleaner version that he did not release with the Crucial boxes, but still, this is a great album for me. So the next one that we have is You Can't Do That on Stage Anymore, Volume 3. And as you can see, I'm a big fan of his music from the 80s, which is not very common. But again, this is not like the best albums that I would recommend that he ever made. It's just the albums that I most often back to. And for me, this one has almost everything that I can wish from one experience listening to his music. It has. I mean, he did the versions of many songs here that are have not been featured on many albums, or I mean, I would say all the studio albums, all the songs that have been featured here and that have been put previously on studio albums, I just prefer these versions much more. Um, or even the songs that didn't make any of the let's say studio versions. There are a lot of songs like this. For example, "Carol You Fool," "China in the Bushwap," and yeah, some others. But there are amazing songs here. And also on the first song, Charlena Weasels is actually playing the guitar solo. And yeah, you have a lot of Joe's Garage here. Some of the less known 80s albums featured here, like the songs in France and Society Pages, Cocaine Decisions. And to wrap it up, I mean, with the King Kong almost at the end of the disc, too, it's for me, this is a again go-to when I'm feeling down, when I want to cheer up. This is a go-to for me. It has a perfect balance of sing-along songs and some great guitar playing on many of these songs. Like Advanced Romance has a great solo. Charlena has a great solo, and yeah, some other songs as well. Um, Again, might not be everyone's cup of tea and might not be the best in the series, but for me, a lot of these You Can't Do That on Stage Anymore is either disc one or disc two. But for this one, for number three, yeah, it's my favorite. And I actually have a copy of the CD signed by, I won't say all the people who played on the album, of course without Frank, but I have 4 or 5 of the signatures I managed to get over the years in the concerts. So very special album to me. And then we go to the end of the 70s to Joe's Garage. I would say one of his more popular releases. Yeah, again, this is very approachable album, and I would recommend this one actually after some of the classic 70s stuff. This is one of the first albums that I heard from Frank, and I immediately got hooked up. The story behind it's absolutely amazing, and I hope that one day they will put on the musical back again on stage. I know, like 10 to 15 years ago, there was a couple of shows in LA that they did the performance with. And yeah, I was so bummed that I could not, of course, make that dream come true and go to see it performed live. But regardless of that, yeah, this album has my favorite guitar solo from Frank, of course, Watermelon in the Easter Hay, and it's just a great record. And yeah, I mean, side A or disc one or act one or act two and three, it depends on the mood. Sometimes I just want goofy songs on the act one, and sometimes I want to go more artistic, more get lost in all the melodies on acts two and three. So if you're looking a good combination with the awesome production and a narrative that goes along with it, yeah, I would definitely recommend this record. And then we are going back to, I would say, the Frank's best album. I mean, it's very hard to say, but if you're introducing Frank Zappa to someone, well, my first question would be, what kind of music do you like, and what do you expect from Frank? He can offer so many things, but if you would have to put one album in a time capsule and send to the future, I believe I would put this one. It's a perfect record from top to bottom. That Peaches and Regalia, it's just it's a signature. It's his trademark. It's everything that he was best at in one song. So yeah, not much to say here. It's a phenomenal album. Amazing instrumentation, amazing playing, great ideas. The flow of the record is also very good from song to song. It just goes in a hip. You don't even blink and it's already over. It's just perfection, and I consider it to be like a perfect 10 in all the meanings of the word. And yeah, the reason why I go back to this over, let's say, Grand Wazoo is just because it has it's a statement, right? So I didn't really like that 50 anniversary edition where they had all the takes and just a lot of cuts, cutting and starting all over again. That didn't really appeal to me. That's like a more of a documentary. I was hoping to hear some alternative versions more, or just to have a better flow there. But if you're already heard Hot Rats and you want to dig deeper, if you're a musician, yeah, check that 50th anniversary release. And then we go to One Size Fits All. When I was choosing, so we are very close to wrapping this up. And when I was choosing, should I put One Size Fits All? Should I put Overnight Sensation, Apostrophe, Zoot Allures? And all of those albums are phenomenal, and I would definitely recommend starting there if you're just starting to get into Frank Zappa. But as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, majority of those songs have been ruined for me because of the superior live versions, or just because my ear is so trained to the live versions. I'm obsessed with his live material. So hearing most of the songs hearing on the album, it just sounds so I would say very stripped down, not too exciting. But this one is an exception. So One Size Fits All is definitely an exception in that category because, yeah, I mean, Inca Rose, I don't think he overtopped it with any live version. Then Florentine Pogan is it's also very good. Andy San Bernardino, Sofa. Um, I didn't find any of these songs being better live than on what was captured here on this record, and yeah, that's the reason why I chose in this. It's almost a perfect album. Um, it's definitely, yeah, if you're looking into starting with Frank Zappa, I would say do this one or do the Overnight Sensation, but I come back to this one more often than, well, actually I never listen to Overnight Sensation anymore, just because I find I scratch that itch in live versions. And for this one I go back to for this set of songs I go back to One Size Fits All. And the next one is Roxy and Elsewhere. So this is a compilation of live tracks, and there are many Frank did. So there are a lot of albums that Frank did just by mixing the different tapes, live takes, different studio sessions, putting drums from the 60s with the band in the 80s. There's a lot of you cannot keep track how the guy actually did everything, but Roxy and Elsewhere is a compilation of live tracks from a couple of venues, of course including the Roxy. And this album is a perfect live album from Frank. It just cannot be topped in that regard, with Penguin in Bondage, Village of the Sun, Bebop. Yeah, it's perfection. And after I saw the DVD, so if you have not seen Roxy the movie or the concert, do yourself a favor, go check that out. There are a lot of songs that have not been featured on this release, and I mean, it's simply perfect. I think this is the most tight and most creative lineup that he had on this one. So with George Duke on keyboards and Napoleon on vocals and saxophone, and yeah, with two drummers, so Chester Thompson and Ralph Humphrey. Bass player was Tom Fowler. It's and Bruce Fowler on trombone. It's simply amazing lineup, and he never managed to reach this high. I would say he had amazing drummers afterwards: Terry Bozzio, Chad Wackerman, Vinny Colaiuta. I mean, the list goes on, and as well as for the other instruments as well. But this band was it. They had it, and they performed so well. And yeah, you can hear them also in some studio albums as well. So yeah, do yourself a favor and check those out. But why I come back to this is because it captures the 70s spirit. It's like a superior version to One Size Fits All and Overnight Sensation. It's simply perfect. I don't know what other word to put out, but yeah, that's it. And to surprise you all, my favorite go-to Frank Zappa album of all time is The Best Band You Never Heard in Your Life. and that's ironically true, and at least in my case. So the reason why I love this record is, as you can see, I kind of like his records where I can that are more easy approachable, that are not that complex, that are straightforward, that have a lot of sing-along moments, that are very melodic, very funny, very engaging, and this album captures everything of that. So all other albums on this list are have something of that, and but this album has everything for me. So it's a compilation album of all his previously released albums. You have everything here, from Cosmic Debris, Find Her Finer, Zombie Wolf, Mist and Green Jeans from the 60s, from the Mother's record, Florentine Pogan, and the Inca Roads. You have everything here. And then on disc 2, again, you have some covers, and Torture Never Stops, Purple Haze, as I mentioned, the cover, and Penguin in Bondage, Stairway to Heaven, I mean, from Led Zeppelin. It's simply an amazing record. It's something that I mean, I wouldn't say I listen it most of the time, but if I would have to pick one record that I would go back to the most of the time, I think this one offers the most variety for me. It has covers, it has humor, it's long enough to enjoy disc 1 or disc 2. It has amazing solos. I like those wood instruments. It's sorry, not wood, wind instruments. I really like those the arrangements that he put on this one. And yeah, so again, there are tons of other records. If I would need to put more objectively list, it would be completely different. Majority of these records wouldn't make the cut, but this is my 10 favorites of the albums that I go back to. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, or I'm sure that you have a lot to say if you're a Frank fan. Let me know in the comments. Do you see why I picked out these, and what are your favorite go-to? So not best albums that he did, like a statement, but which albums do you check the most? What albums do you go back most to? Well, if you stayed until the end of the video, I thank you so much for your attention, for your engagement. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you would like to see more top 10 lists, let me know in the comments. And yeah, let's see what other musicians I will check in the future. Again, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Until next time, take care and bye bye.